Welcome to the official housing market podcast of the Massachusetts Association of Realtors. My name is Berman. I am your host and the association's communications director. I am joined today by Corinne Fitzgerald, the 24th president of the Massachusetts Association of Realtors. Corinne is a broker owner of Fitzgerald Real Estate in Greenfield. Corinne, welcome to our video podcast, which we had so much fun doing last month. We're doing it again this month.
Well, it's great to be here, Eric, and sunshine. It's a great day.
Well, a little cold, but other than that, it's not snowing.
Yes.
So, okay, now last month we talked about sales going up. Now we get to talk about January closed sales, which went down. So what can you tell us about this market?
We were hoping that sales would continue in January after a nice increase in December, but it didn't quite happen that way for most areas in the state. However, I still feel that it's a good month for sales, especially considering we had a blizzard the last week of the month. And that did impact some of the closings. I look back over the last 10 years, and the sales this time in January are just right around in the middle. We still have buyer demand, and they are hopefully going to be enough to push sales up.
Okay, now, Corinne, one trend that hasn't changed is median prices going up. They're up again in January. Is there an end to this?
I think as long as the supply is down and the demand for buyers is there, then yes, we could probably continue to see things go up. We've been saying this for years. The interest rates are incredibly low. They're record lows. But for the first time in a long time, we feel like the Feds actually could raise the rates, especially if the economy and the job market continue to move in a positive direction. And as we know from the last time we talked about the rates increasing, there's usually a mad dash for people to buy homes, and that could happen again. What we don't want to see are homes going up so high that people can't afford to live in Massachusetts. That would not only be bad for the real estate market, but also for the economy and the state as a whole.
All right. Now, I know we're all tired of the snow, but what type of impact did it have on the January housing numbers?
I think that in some ways it did have an impact on the market, and others it didn't. Like for instance, the total number of sales probably wasn't impacted much, though some closings were pushed off into February, but that's about it. Now remember, the properties that closed in January most likely went under agreement in November and December. The snow really wasn't a major factor for the median price either. I think the two data sets that were most impacted were new listings and pending sales. The kind of weather we're experiencing is especially making buyers who want to take a look at homes. They're waiting to buy, and people that are thinking about putting their home on the market, they've been holding off. And even those taking their houses off the market and waiting for the market to happen again in the spring, and they've been deciding to wait. All of which I think have affected the inventory overall. And finally, I will agree. I think most realtors will agree that it's hard to get a good picture of a house when the snowbanks are so high that you can't see it.
All right, so those snowbanks notwithstanding, my final question for our January numbers podcast has to do with pending sales. January pending sales were down, which we haven't seen in a while. So what caused that?
As I mentioned before, I'm sure the snow the last week of the month did have an impact. However, I think the big culprit is inventory. There's just not enough homes for sale. It's hard for pending sales and closed sales, for that matter, to go up if there's not enough homes to sell. In order for that to change, we'll need sellers to take advantage of the increasingly high market numbers and the increase in value, and also for them to put their house on the market earlier than spring, and so that they can get a jump start on it. And we also need builders to build more homes. As you can see, the answer is easy, but the question's pretty hard.
Okay, Corinne, well, that's all I have, so thank you very much, and I appreciate you joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you next month in our next video podcast.
My pleasure.